Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is episode 8 of our 10-part deep dive into one of the most iconic albums in rock history, Metallica's Black Album. Over the series, we've been peeling back the layers of this masterpiece, exploring everything from its revolutionary production to the stories behind each track. Today, we're continuing our track-by-track analysis with part 4, where we'll examine how this album comes to its powerful and haunting conclusion. If you are joining us now, I highly recommend starting from episode 1 to get the full journey, but don't worry, each episode can stand on its own. So let's dive into the final 2 tracks of the Black Album, My Friend of Misery and The Struggle Within. When you reach the end of the Black Album, something feels different. Unlike many rock records that close with a bang or a triumphant anthem, Metallica chose a different path. The final 2 tracks take us into a darker, more introspective territory, leaving listeners with an unsettling feeling that lingers long after the music stops. This wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate choice that reveals something profound about the album's emotional architecture. Let's talk about pacing first, because it's crucial to understanding why these closing tracks hit the way they do. By the time we arrive at My Friend of Misery, we've already been through an emotional gauntlet. We've experienced the arena-ready power of Enter Sandman, the groove-heavy assault of Sad But True, the raw vulnerability of The Unforgiven, and the relentless energy of Wherever I May Roam. We've weathered the emotional storm of Nothing Else Mattered and felt the primal aggression of Through Than Ever. The album has taken us on a journey, and now, as we approach the finish line, Metallica doesn't give us a resolution. Instead, they give us reflection and turmoil. My Friend of Misery opens with one of the most distinctive bass lines on the entire record. Jason Newsted's bass work here is front and center, which is significant considering how often bass was buried in Metallica's earlier mixes, most notably And Justice for All. This track has an almost mournful quality from its first notes, setting a contemplative tone that feels words away from the album's opening salvos. The song deals with themes of negativity and victimhood, specifically the exhausting nature of being around someone who constantly dwells in misery and refuses to see beyond their own pain. There's a weariness in the delivery, a sense that the narrator has tried to help, but has finally reached their limit. This isn't anger exactly, it's more like resigned frustration with a hint of sadness underneath. What makes this track particularly interesting from a musical standpoint is how it was developed. Originally, My Friend of Misery was conceived as an instrumental piece, and you can still hear echoes of that original version in the song's structure. The instrumental passages are lengthy and intricate, featuring some of Kirk Hammett's most melodic soloing on the album. There's space in this music, room to breathe and think, which contrasts sharply with the more compact, radio-friendly approach of earlier tracks. The production here is notably different too. The guitars feel slightly less polished. The mix is a bit rawer. It's as if Bob Rock and the band decided that this deep into the album they could afford to show some rough edges. The song doesn't need to prove anything anymore. It can simply exist in its own brooding atmosphere. Then we arrive at the album's true closer, The Struggle Within. And if My Friend of Misery felt dark, this track takes us somewhere even more unsettling. This is internal warfare made sonic, a thrashing, aggressive examination of psychological torment and inner conflict. From the opening riff, The Struggle Within announces itself as a return to a more aggressive Metallica sound, but there's something desperate about it. The tempo is frantic. The vocals delivered with barely controlled intensity. James Hetfield's lyrics confront the chaos inside the mind, the battle between conflicting impulses, the feeling of being at war with yourself. There's no redemption offered here, no suggestion that this struggle will ever be resolved. What's fascinating is how this track functions as the album's endpoint. Many classic rock records end with either a powerful statement of purpose or a gentle come down that lets you down gracefully. The Struggle Within does neither. It ends abruptly, almost unceremoniously, leaving you in a state of tension rather than release. When the final note hits and silence takes over, you're not left with a sense of completion, you're left with questions. This brings us back to a crucial aspect of the Black Album's ending. It feels unfinished, and that's precisely the point. Both of these closing tracks explore themes of unresolved conflict, external in My Friend of Misery and internal in The Struggle Within. By ending the album in this space of darkness and irresolution, Metallica make a bold artistic statement. They're saying that not everything gets wrapped up neatly. Not every story has a happy ending. Sometimes the struggle continues, and the best we can do is acknowledge that reality, it is what it is. This approach was risky. Radio programmers and casual listeners might gravitate towards the album's more accessible early tracks, but serious fans will have to reckon with this challenging conclusion. It's the sound of a band refusing to compromise their artistic vision, even as they achieved unprecedented commercial success. The instrumental elements throughout both tracks deserve special attention. Kirk Hammett's guitar solos are less about showmanship and more about emotional expression. Lars Ulrich's drumming provides steady propulsion, but also knows when to pull back and create space. And that bass presence in My Friend of Misery is a reminder that even in the most mainstream moment, Metallica remained a band that cared about musical depth and complexity. Looking back at the Black Album as a complete work, these final two tracks are essential to its lasting impact. They prevent the record from becoming too polished, too perfect, too resolved. They inject rawness and authenticity into an album that might otherwise be dismissed as overly commercial. They remind us that Metallica, even while working with a major producer and aiming for a wider success, never lost sight of the darkness and complexity that made them compelling in the first place. The album ends not with catharsis, but with continued tension, and maybe that's the most honest ending possible. Life doesn't resolve neatly. Our struggles don't end just because a song finishes. Metallica understood this, and they had the artistic courage to let the most successful album reflect that uncomfortable truth. So there you have it, the conclusion on Metallica's Black Album, two tracks that challenge, unsettle, and refuse to provide easy answers. In our next episode, we'll be discussing the album's legacy and lasting impact on rock music and popular culture. How did this record change everything that came after? What does it mean 3 decades later? We'll explore all of that and more. If you've been enjoying the series, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to catch up on any of the episodes you might have missed or rewatch the entire journey from the beginning, check out the complete playlist right here on the screen. All 10 episodes of the Black Album deep dive there, waiting for you to watch. And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.